What's up, everyone? Welcome into the All 22 NFL Show, the official channel of the All 22 fantasy football platform. It's the only fantasy football game with full 53-man rosters, including offensive linemen, where you get to choose personnel packages and have access to PFF grades and advanced stats to make decisions each week. To learn more and sign up, go to all-22.com. And Ray, if you don't mind, I would like to start off this episode a little different than we usually do, just because there was some pretty massive news this week with PFF, right? And I don't really have much to say at this point, Ray, right? Like, we don't have much to say, but the only thing I would like to say is just that, like, our heart goes out to all of the guys that lost their job this past week. They're dear friends to us, John Macri, Trevor Sikkema, guys that we have worked with in the past and have had a bunch of conversations with. They're really great people, and there's a ton more. And I just want to also reiterate that All 22 is a separate company from PFF. We work in partnership with them. And as of right now, there really isn't further comment, just that we're excited to continue to kind of grow with what we do and continue doing great things that we love doing every day.
Yeah, it's been a tough week for a lot of people. So it's for a lot of great people, and they'll all land on their feet because they deserve it, and they have good things coming, great things coming. And with that, I think what does bring us all together at the core of all this is just straight talking ball, and especially the draft. And so I am excited that we still get to do that and bring a little levity to this whole situation. So I'm still excited for this. I know you are too, and I can't wait to jump into these guys.
I am so excited to talk about defensive interiors, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to review the tape of the defensive interior class. We have 4 guys lined up, and to reiterate, we do not put together a highlight tape. We are putting together trends to show you who this player actually is, right? So that come draft day in All 22, or if you're just a casual fan, right, and you have an NFL team like the Cowboys, like Ray, that you're really rooting for, you have a semblance of who the person they draft actually is. And you're not just buying the hype, right? Like, you're going to watch this guy and truly understand what impact they could have on your team. And Ray's going to be starting off with Peter Woods from Clemson. And I purposely did not review Peter Woods. And Ray, the reason being, I fall for the Clemson trap every single year, where Clemson defensive interiors or defensive ends or edge rushers come out and I fall in love with them. And then they end up being not as good as I had hoped. Hopefully Peter Woods is different. I didn't watch his tape yet. I wanted to hear your thoughts on him before I do. So I am excited to get into this. So Peter Woods from Clemson is a junior, 6'3", 310 pounds. He's 21 years old. And this past year, he played 562 snaps on defense with a 72.5 PFF grades. He had 6 sacks, 8 hits, and 40 hurries on the career. So Ray, tell me what's to like, what's not to like about Peter Woods.
Peter Woods is an enigma. That's a word, Chris. Look it up.
Oh, wait, real quick. We're doing 5 plays in 5 minutes. Just to reiterate to the people, this trend has been going really well. We're going to continue that. 5 plays, 5 minutes to tell you who this player really is. Sorry, continue enigmas.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I was just going to wing it. As far as time goes, he's an enigma. There's so much to like about him, but there's also just something missing. And Clemson used him really weird this year, really the last year and a half. As far as a role that they had planned for him, as far as putting on weight, or rather losing weight, but then ask him to put it back on and play one tech. We're going to get into that in the tape here. I won't belabor the point further, and we'll talk about it more after, because I'm sure everybody just wants to dive in and see the plays here. So the first play, you see him lined up here in a one tech here between the center and the right guard. I'm going to run it, and this is going to really show his lateral agility and shedding strength here. And I think this is a lot of his sort of strengths in a nutshell. And when we see it from the end zone angle, it's going to really stand out. So again, just kind of first, he's going to the outside here, to the outside shoulder of the guard. So he's not necessarily flying upfield. He's kind of still just kind of stalking here. And then just that shedding, I mean, that's crazy. And also, I know we didn't go into all of the combine measurements here. He's got some pretty short arms. I think he's in a very low percentile when it comes to length, and it doesn't matter because he just kind of gets in chest here and, again, head up and just kind of sheds and gets into the backfield. He did this, Chris, no lie, at least a half dozen times against LSU. Literally just pull cloth, stack and shed, throw the guard to the ground, and go ahead and make a tackle or disrupt the play. So I mean, that's a key element to his game. We're going to see him here now in kind of a two-eye technique. And this is why I don't really like him as a one-tech type, because now here he kind of can't really chase the play down, is kind of knocked off balance here. It seems very subtle, but as we get into right at the start here, watch the center, just that little bit, just kind of getting knocked off his pathway here. He doesn't necessarily have the strength, the brute strength here to really then control the action and get back into phase quick enough here. At this point, his momentum is being driven by the guard here, and he's just kind of washed out of the play and just opens up a big cutback here. I don't really like him as sort of a one tech or a 2-eye type of player here, because you see this happen quite a bit when it's a combo block elsewhere. He doesn't have quite the mass to consistently sustain at that level or that far down inside. But we're going to get back to something I like here on the third play. And I like to see this out of all my defensive interiors, because these little yards can make a difference. This is just straight hustle. This is just chasing down the play to the sideline here, just following the path of the ball carrier and, possibly limiting some of that yak. I like the hustle. That's all there is to this. What kind of player are you? And yeah, he's gonna chase the ball carrier down. He's got a motor to him, which you need to see and want to see. I also mentioned he's not necessarily quite a one-tech type of power player, but I see this too often here from a pass rush standpoint as well, where it's just there's not much happening there. If it's not a quick win, it's just a lot of kind of just not really going anywhere, just kind of a lot of stalemating, no quick penetration or constant pocket pushing. It happens a bit too often. He's not a super penetrating pass rush type of player, though you may think that sometimes by his size. He really didn't put that on tape in 2025. So you're not getting a super pass rusher here if that's what you're thinking by just kind of looking at the size and measurements before diving in. But at the same time, he's pretty effective against double teams. I know I just went on this rant about one tech and everything else, but he doesn't really get any pushback here at the line of scrimmage. He never resets the line of scrimmage, but he doesn't get reset either. Here on this combo and double, he holds his ground, and he doesn't do it in such a way like if you remember Byron Murphy a few years ago or a couple years ago coming out, where he kind of really dropped down to kind of keep his leverage. This is just kind of natural, just stoutness by Peter Woods here, just kind of a natural anchor to not be driven off the ball. And that really alters the pathway of the running back here and disrupts a lot at the line of scrimmage. So all in all, you kind of have this somewhat undersized defensive tackle with some good strength who's not necessarily a super pass rusher and not necessarily a one tech who's going to consistently just sort of dominate double teams at the line of scrimmage for you either. But he's got a motor. He does stack and shed really well and just kind of consistently is disruptive, but not to the level of the hype that we kind of were hearing about him over the last year heading into the 2025 season. I'm not sure what to make of this guy. I think he's a good football player, but I think he was a little bit misused, not playing enough 3-tech at Clemson here. And yeah, just not quite as disruptive in the pass rush game as you might expect or have expected before really diving in. But he's a good player. He's a darn good player.
All right. So just real quick, where do you think he ends up? What range are you taking him in a draft?
The draft is a little funky, Chris, because there's not a lot of top defensive interior guys here. He could go as high as 16. To me, he's more in the 25 type range, and you have to have a good plan for him. I don't want him, again, at one tech too often. I think he is more of a 3-tech type of player who can give you some added bonus in the run game from that spot than you might expect. Yeah, 25 to 32 range is where I would have him, or 25 to 35, I guess. But he might go earlier. I would not be shocked if he goes in the teens because of just need, position value, and the fact that he is a good football player. And I think there's some blood left on the stone because he was not managed well at Clemson. There's a reason Clemson, again, similar to Penn State, were super hyped coming into the 2025 season, and things just didn't go to plan. I think a lot of it was the usage of some of their star players, including Peter Woods.
All right. We'll talk about it more towards the end of the episode. So I think next we have Lee Hunter.
Your boy Lee Hunter. Yeah.
All right, we're going to do Lee Hunter from Texas Tech. He is a senior, 6'4", 330 pounds, 23 years old already, 523 snaps this past season with an 80.9 PFF grade. He had 4 sacks, 17 hits, and 54 hurries. Here you see him lined up between the guard and the center. Let's just go ahead and run it. So 2 hands down and explosive off the ball, but gets driven basically off the mark. So for 330 pounds, I would like to see him do more than this, right? This is where I have concerns when it comes to defensive linemen, when you're 6'4", 330 pounds lined up against a guard. And, it was a second of a double team, but it really was that guard number 55 who basically turns Lee Hunter here on his own and drives him pretty far out of the play. Like, this isn't a stunt. He's not purposely wrapping around, right? Like, we just need a lot more of you holding your ground as a 330-pound guy for me to feel comfortable with at least where he's being talked about in this draft, which is, one of the top defensive interior prospects. Let's go ahead and go to play 2 once you're done with this one. And okay, go ahead. Here he is lined up over 61. We only have one angle of this play. And he gets through rather quickly, kind of guesses, right? I think the guard is like, fine, you want to go this way? No problem, right? And then a late shoulder that he throws on the quarterback, who's kind of an innocent bystander, and pretty sure he got a flag on this play. So 2 things I don't like about this play, right? So one is you're guessing, you're obviously getting pushed away from the play. You don't do anything really to fight back and get back towards the ball carrier. And then you just lower a shoulder on the quarterback and get a flag for your team. Like, stuff like that at the NFL level is going to drive fans crazy, right? Like, that's just going to drive you absolutely insane. I want to see more. I need more from my guys.
Is he's quarterback number 47? Is that the real quarterback? Jeez.
Not dude, a quarterback you got a problem with 47 being a quarterback number now?
That's not a quarterback number.
Dude, it's 2026, bro. Number. It's 2026. You can be whatever you want. All right, let's go ahead and hit play. Yep, here we go. So he's lined up, does a good job on this play. But again, I just want more. Like, every single play so far that I've seen of him, I just want more. And he's kind of just watching things develop in front of him. He gets hands-on. He tries to rip. His brothers kind of got through, but he's just kind of standing there, allowing the play to happen in front of him. But a good effort overall, right? Like, you're kind of getting double teamed. You continue pushing. The play. That the play is kind of done. I just want to see a little bit more, and that's really the trend I'm just trying to show with Lee Hunter. Is I just want to see more. More effort, more technical soundness, right? All right. So here he is lined up over the left guard, so at the top of your screen, and does a really good job again getting through, ripping through quickly, but kind of late hits the quarterback again. Like, the ball's clearly out of his hands. But the immediate kind of play on this is the quarterback has to get rid of the ball very fast, because Lee Hunter broke through. And this game really was kind of a tale of 2 halves, where the first half, I felt like he was getting beat on every single play. And the second half, he did a lot of this, which was winning quickly, using some technical soundness, right? So he kind of gets in the guy's chest, pulls, rips, swims, and gets through. Like, that's great. That's what I want to see, but I want to see that for a full game. And I also don't want to see you hit the quarterback when he clearly has the ball out of his hands and it's going to be another penalty on you, because you already have a late hit penalty in the game. Okay, here he is lined up between the left guard and left tackle. So you could go ahead and hit play again. And again, he wins very, very fast, but he just doesn't finish. So if you win that fast, you're 330 pounds. Maybe 47 is really secretly a linebacker, so he's never going to get tackled. But come on, man. Like, that's like your bread and butter strength. That's why people are considering you as a guy in this draft class, is so that you can bring down players like this. But again, he wins very fast. Quarterback, don't know why you're running into that spot. Clearly the guard was not expecting you to, but that's just kind of how the cookie crumbled on this play. And Lee Hunter did a really great job besides finishing on the tackle. I think the next play is hopefully the last play. Here he is lined up between the center and guard on the left side. And just does a really good job kind of confusing. There's a lot of confusion going on in this play. I think 51 thought the center was going to step up. 51 kind of got confused altogether, but he doesn't finish again, right? Like 47 is standing up and kind of breaking this tackle, throwing the ball away. And you're 330 pounds, man. Like he should be on the ground quick. Good effort, way to win quickly. Again, way to get hands on the quarterback. You got to finish plays. So all in all, I think Lee Hunter, I think that's the last play if you want to just make sure.
Yep. Yeah, it's your last play.
Okay. So like all in all with Lee Hunter, right? I think this is a guy that has skill. He has technical soundness when he wants to. He can win quickly. He has skills that 330-pound men typically don't have when it comes to winning as a pass rusher. But there's also a lot of technical things that he doesn't do well. And he can get blown off the ball. And he does let up on certain plays. And he doesn't finish every play. That I would definitely have concerns taking this guy as a first rounder, which I am hearing that teams are really interested in him in the first round. So to me, this is like hey, if you get him as the 45th pick, right? Like you get him in that range and you have him as a rotational piece in the beginning and hopefully he steps and becomes something great. That's like defensive interior is hard, right? Like you need like 4 of these guys to play for you in any given game. So I get that Lee Hunter is a viable person in that role. But if you're talking about a guy as a first-round pick, he needs to be a difference maker for me, and I just didn't see that from him. So we have Kayden McDonald from Ohio State.
Guys.
Yes. Junior, 6'3", 326 pounds. He's 21 years old, played 448 snaps on defense, 86.5 PFF grade, 2 career sacks, 15 hurries, 0 quarterback hits. Very interesting career stat line for you, right?
Yeah, I think that says a lot. I think that stat line says a lot, even though we don't really like to sort of go by stats here, right? But in any event, just going to go ahead and run it here. Big defensive tackle. We're just going to start with the pass rush here, lined up over center. And this is basically what he's going to give you in the pass rush, which is not much. He's just going to kind of push the pocket here, throw cloth late. But you see him here just lined up at a 0. He's just going to push you backwards. That's pretty much all he's got. He doesn't have a pass rush repertoire. This is trash can full of dirt guy. He's going to push the pocket if it's a pass. That's very simple, straightforward. Heading into play 2 here, and I talked about it. I saw it with Peter Woods. I like the hustle here. Again, he's chasing the play down to the other side of the field here. For a big man that typically is going to be playing within, just kind of 2-gapping there on the interior, I like to see that. Also, it probably hurt everybody to end the play with that guy just kind of jumping on the pile here, but I like it. Again, just show me the hustle. Big guy with hustle, I can work with that. Arrow's a little off here. Here he is lined up over to the inside shade of the left tackle here, and just controlling the line here. Doesn't give up any ground on a combo block and just works back to the run. So watch it again. Watch left tackle and left guard here. They're both going to engage, and he moves absolutely nowhere. I said left guard. So right tackle, just no leg drive at all. And he just kind of shuffles in and makes the play. You can't move him. He is just incredibly hard to move. And you see him just kind of just stalwart or stalemate the double there and then just work his way back to the ball carrier. So this is someone who's just incredibly stout against the run. On this next play here, kind of a similar thing. I just wanted to show because I thought it looked really cool here. Just one angle here from the end zone. Just, in like those like superhero movies or like where there's like a super villain, like the Hulk or like, the Hulk's not a villain, but like Broly or something, like kind of like the big monster in shackles. I think they have one of those in like 300 and they just kind of like break through the shackles. Like it's basically what Kayden McDonald does here between the right guard and the right tackle here. Just between both of them, and he just kind of shucks them both off. Watch that right arm just kind of dig in and drive that right guard off of him. And he really just shuts down the entire interior of this play. The fact that Arch got outside of this right here, when you have this defender on the outside shoulder here, you have this flowing defender here to the edge. That's an indictment on everybody else on this play, but McDonald just shut down that QB power on the interior here.
Dude, I just watched Dune. I just watched Dune, and there's a sandworm. I don't know if you saw Dune, but like the sandworm is like half of a football field and just comes out of the ground and swallows people. Kind of looked like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty much what he does, right? So this angle, I'm just going to let it run. Really going to see from the other side. So it's like another, okay, ho-hum, just, sort of stuff against the run, right? I'm going to try to pause it accurately here. So he's lined up at 0, again, over center. The center's back had to have been killing him after this game. But I'm going to see if I can pause it here right there. So it may be hard to identify Kayden McDonald right here, right? I'm going to do it for you. This is his helmet right here. Look at everybody else who's engaged with somebody. So first off, this defender's kind of being washed down, to the backside of the play here. You have the edge player here. Just look at everybody's head down on contact, right? Being washed away, chasing. Look at McDonald here. In the midst of all this scrum, he is so comfortable. This is a huge indicator of comfort. His head is up. All the chaos around him, he is in full control of the action. He is stalking here. Number 4 is not worried about him at all right now. He's looking to read this block on 0 right here to see if he's going to cut to the outside or cut up field over the middle here based on how this block develops. But meanwhile, McDonald, through all this trash, is just stalking the entire way right here and is going to go ahead and make the tackle anyway. That is such high-level comfort. Again, head down, being washed away, chasing, and then just stalking. He's just the entire way. He is so comfortable in the midst of all this chaos here. He's not straining. Like, think of it this way, Chris. We played cornerback, right? If you lose right away, right, and you're out of phase, what do? What are you supposed to do?
Grab cloth,
you grab, right, so you don't give up a touchdown. But if you can't grab, what do? You just run, right? You just
run. Put your head down and run. That's what I said first.
Put your head down and run. Yeah. This is the equivalent of being in perfect phase. If you're in phase in coverage, right, you can kind of look and lean. You can find the ball because you feel the receiver in coverage, right? You feel what's happening as the play is developing. Then you can go back to the huddle or you go back to the sideline. You could tell the coach the slot ran this, my guy ran a go, but the slot ran this and they were running this on the backside because you're in a flow state. You're in a state of comfort. You feel what's going on. This is the equivalent of that at the line of scrimmage. In the midst of all the chaos, he just feels what's going on here. And you can only do that if you're just in a state of full-on comfort. You're not worried at all. You know you're bigger, you're stronger. You're just in full control of the action. So while this seems like a ho-hum play to most people, just another run stuff for a 2-yard loss, this to me tells me a whole lot about Kayden McDonald at the line of scrimmage. I was bigly impressed at that. So I think this is my 6th play here. I cheated because I had to fit that last play in here. This was a very long drive that I think started inside Texas's 10. Could be wrong, but this was like a 14-plus play drive. He's a big guy. He gets tired. And I think that's just what happened here. He's on the field a lot. He just gets tired because all game he's just been whooping up on this center. And now all of a sudden he can't disengage. While, yes, he doesn't have pass rush moves where he's going to swim over him and just kind of get in the lane that way. This is not his game, and we know it. This might be someone who plays 30 snaps a game, 35, maybe 40 tops. You don't want him hitting the 50s if he's going to stay at this size. I think he's a 2-down player, and that's fine because you want him fresh for what he does best, which is, disrupting the line of scrimmage on those rundowns and clogging things up in the middle because he can wear down, and that's what this is. There's no way this center can do that normally. He's not doing this on 1st and 10, the first drive, or the first play of a drive. But here, gets a little tired, legs get tired, can't disengage. You kind of get washed out of the play here. So that's something.
It's also interesting on that play how, they're clearly in some, nickel pass first. We're going to let the run happen if it happens defense, because if you watch Sonny Styles, he is so deep, and I have no idea why a linebacker would be that deep. Right? Watch him. He takes steps back. Yep. You should be a lot slower. And the way he comes down too, it's almost like he's going to cover number 5, not take on a hit from a small running back. He should be laying him out if he thinks this is a run play, and he doesn't really have an opportunity to do that. So I do think that maybe there's a little bit of prevention happening here, not necessarily we're in a run kind of situation. So just another interesting maybe take on this.
Yeah. But we all know damn well, okay, Kayden McDonald's thinking run first anyway. I don't care what. I don't care if it's 3rd and 10. I don't care what it is. He's not pass rushing anyway. But yes,
for sure.
So I really like the player. Immediate comparison or kind of relative comparison goes to Tyleik Williams. I think he's better than that.
Oh yeah, I think he's way better. Go ahead.
I think he's better. So to me, I think this is this guy should go in the first round. It's just, the value of run stuffing kind of disruptive D tackles in that aspect of the game is lessened, I think, to an extent. That would be the only reason I think he should fall out of the first round, because to me, this is a first round player. This is the best run stopping defensive tackle in a few years, in my opinion. Maybe I'm forgetting an obvious name here, but this type of player against the run does not come out every year. So if you have a shot at him in a need, I think you go for it, and I'm not mad if you do it in round 1.
Yeah, T'Vondre Sweat, Jordan Davis.
Of course
now
you would say that. Of course
I would. He's awesome.
It's your boy. But yes, T'Vondre Sweat, very good player, who also would have went higher if there weren't other things to be concerned about in the draft process. That so far, so good.
All right, so next we have Caleb Banks from Florida, redshirt senior, 6'6", 330 pounds, and I think he played higher than that. I think 330 pounds is like a generous swimsuit season version of Caleb Banks. Got injured last year, so didn't play a lot of snaps, but had a 68.8 PFF grade, has 6 career sacks, 7 QB hits, and 43 hurries. This is probably the most controversial interior prospect of this draft class. I will say I'm very excited to talk about him. So if you want to go ahead and run through the first play, we'll watch it and we'll talk about it. So there he is, lined up over the right guard, splits it very quickly, actually takes out the pulling guard from the other side as well, or pulling tackle from the other side as well. So basically takes out 3 guys on this play so that the other players behind him are clean and can make this tackle. Just a tremendous effort on this play, as good as it gets for a run play, as you're going to see, essentially. So I loved it. and there's a lot of this. So here he is lined up over the left tackle, kind of towards the outside. Go ahead and hit play. And we win quick, right? We win super quick, but I didn't finish. Another example of just kind of similar story as I had with Lee Hunter a little bit, where you get through, right? You can penetrate quicker than your 330, 340 pound body should allow you to. Look at him just throw 53 off of him, right? Like, we watch NFL highlights of Reggie White throwing people to the ground like this, because that is like different level strength and athleticism than is normal to have. But when the running back is as small as he is, settle your feet, man. Slow him down a little bit, right? Even if you're not, you're on an island with a quick shifty back, just get yourself settled, right? You don't want to miss completely, because you put everybody behind you at a disadvantage if you do that. So misses the play, but the immediate win is just, again, incredible.
Yeah. If you're going to penetrate, you got to finish. I agree, Chris. Sorry.
Oh, weird. Good. All right. Pause on that. Let's see him outside here on the left tackle again. And here, just again, tremendous effort, like doing everything you want him to do. So he gets hands on and he's basically mirroring the back. He doesn't get washed out at all. The tackle has no chance on him at all, right? Like, he's not playing a D3 team right now, right? Like, this isn't a warm-up game at the start of a season. Like, he's playing Tennessee. This is good football. And he just wins tremendously against him, follows the running back, doesn't over pursue it at all, right? And helps make this tackle. Like, insane effort again for Caleb Banks.
It's like a child hanging off of his arm. Like, he's not even bothered.
Dude, his strength is nuts. It's absolutely insane. So we're going to go to the next play here. So again, lined up between the left tackle, left guard, engages with the left guard, wins in an instant. And this is what I'm talking about when you miss the tackle quickly, right? You win super quick. Again, 74 had no shot, and you have hands on the running back. You have him dead to rights, and you miss. And when you miss like that, you put your team at a disadvantage, because now the guy has an extra blocker in front of him, and he got yards that he had absolutely no reason to be getting those extra yards, no rights at all to get those extra yards, and he gets them instead. So I want to see him finish these plays. But again, we're showing trends today. Here he is. I wanted to show another game just to make sure what I was seeing wasn't a fluke, right? Because I was really surprised at how easy this guy was winning. So I got the LSU film again, and he started winning quick again, but he was missing finishing the play. So again, I'm seeing that same kind of thing. 56, we saw him getting his butt whooped earlier when you showed Peter Woods. Gets his butt whooped again, but he doesn't settle his feet. There's kind of a lack of discipline on this play. And that's another thing I saw a lot of on his film is just lack of discipline in the fundamentals. When you need to finish, just lacking that discipline. Okay, back to Tennessee. He's lined up again over the left guard, left tackle area. Just wins quick. I actually showed, I think, like this whole drive because they're at the goal line, and I thought he did an amazing job on 3 consecutive plays where basically it's just like you can't let them run the ball on you. So watch how deep he penetrates. He gets the guard a yard and a half backwards on this play in the way of the running back, drives him into the lane of the running back to help stop this play. The next play, let's just run it, right? Does it again, literally drives him a yard back to stop the progression of the running back. And they do tackle him short of the goal line. And they have to go for another play. So now it's 3rd or 4th and goal on this. And they end up getting in, but let's go ahead and watch the next play if there is one.
Nope, that's the last one.
Oh, okay. So there was another play where he essentially does it again. Caleb Banks is awesome, guys. Like pure film. This is exactly what you want on your team, right? This is a quick penetrating 330-pound, 6'6" defensive interior that can really win in a ton of different ways. He's quick. He has quick feet, quick hands, insane strength, good effort, lacks some fundamentals, right? Doesn't always set his feet to finish plays. Like Byron Murphy a few years ago, in my mind, was like elite level defensive interior prospect. I think Caleb Banks, if the other stuff wasn't an issue, would be close to that. Like to me, this is I would take him top 5, 6 in an NFL draft. I think he's that good. But he's broken his ankle and hurt his foot multiple times in a year. He's consistently had foot issues. He's missed a considerable amount of time. And I say it all the time, Ray, when guys get injured in college, they get injured in the NFL. So I have no doubt that like there's going to be injury issues with this guy at the next level. So I don't know who it makes sense for, right? Because it's hard. If you're the Jets, if you're the Giants, if you're the Browns, and you need to win, and you need to have a player make an instant impact so that you're not showing up empty-handed for your team that you need to improve, that's really hard to take a bet on a guy like Caleb Banks that might be missing time. It might not be showing up to work every day, right? But if you're a team like the Seahawks, if you're a team like the Bills, if you're a team like, like one of those teams that's really close, the Seahawks obviously there, but the Bills, a team that's really close and just missing an instant impact kind of guy, take the bet all day. Will he slide that far? I don't know. We'll have to see.
So I wonder if there's a division between how the media views some of these defensive interior players and how the NFL is. Because when you dive in and you start writing your notes on these players and you read your notes on these guys, the better notes are the ones that are not what you see in the top of these mock drafts on, scrolling on the bottom of NFL Network and ESPN and getting, on the top of the list on Path to the Draft and all that. I don't know. I wonder if there's a division here. And, sometimes it just comes down to flavor of ice cream, but I don't know. This tier 2 might not be a tier 2.
I completely agree. I think the scouts in the media have it wrong, right? But we said that last year too, and they didn't, right? Like, I don't know if you remember our Joshua Simmons conversation, right? Where we thought that he was going to be the no-brainer first tackle taken in the draft. I still think he's the best tackle of that class. But the injury stuff, some off-field stuff, right? Mental health issues maybe drove his stock down, and he ends up going 32nd overall. I don't know, man. Maybe the media knows something we don't, but the film never lies. Like, the truth of the matter is the film never lies. There could be off-the-field concerns, right? Like, who's the Eagles defensive interior? That Jalen Carter, right? Like, it's like the player's there, right? The film is there, but he spit in Dak's face, right? And that's not something we, as in our current capacity, are able to predict because we don't have the interviews with these players, unfortunately. At least not yet. We're gonna get there at some point. But that's the interesting thing. Let's pause for a second. Let's welcome in audio only listeners. If you are just joining the show, we just reviewed the film of 4 of the top defensive interiors of this class. I think it will surprise people to go and listen to the YouTube. So I highly suggest that you go do that because you're going to see stuff that I don't think you're seeing in mock drafts. We're going to talk about it now, though. We're going to have a quick conversation about these prospects and maybe do some rankings. Ray did some comparisons already. I was shook that you did a comparison without me having to egg you on to do a comparison. So guys, this is a rare episode today. You already got some rare stuff.
Do not ask me for another comparison. Do not ask me for another one.
I might, dude. We'll see how the day goes. But okay, let's start off with number 4. And if you did hear our film review, Ray, I think we're going to be aligned on this. Tell me if I'm wrong. But Lee Hunter of the group that we reviewed is my lowest ranked prospect at number 4. Actually, to be honest, he would be number 5 because I've reviewed another prospect that I would have over him. So we'll talk about that. But Lee Hunter from Texas Tech is 6'4", 330-pound senior, 23 years old. He's an interesting prospect with good strength and power. And he worked more as a facilitator than really being the impact guy in that defense. He faced a ton of double teams. So it really limits what he can do. And I saw that on film. But when he did have those one-on-one matchups, I see a guy that can play intelligent football, uses his strength and speed well, uses that length to create space for himself and win difficult matchups. I think he finishes to struggle plays. It's going to be a common theme of this episode. It's these defensive interiors struggling to finish plays. I personally see him as that later day 2, second round kind of prospect. Wouldn't even be surprised if he's a day 3 guy. But I think NFL teams are talking about this guy, or at least the media is, as a day 1 guy. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on him and where you kind of have him in that ratio.
He's also my fourth of the guys we reviewed today. And for people, sometimes it doesn't make we can only share so much of what we share. So sometimes it doesn't make it onto this video. But I really like Lee Hunter. I like him a lot. If he's what you need, he's a similar. He's got a similar archetype to Kayden McDonald with a little bit more of a pass rush repertoire, I want to say, but it's not really much of a pass rush repertoire still. It's just he's got some more movement to him, but he's also not quite as dominant in what they're supposed to be dominant at, given their archetype, which is, on the ground against the run. So to me, that's a mid-second round guy, which is a really good grade. You take him in the 50s and that's a great pick for me. I like him quite a bit. I think he's dense. He's got good strength, little bit agile, kind of surprisingly agile to an extent, but not quite as dominant as sometimes he should be on those, first and second downs to kind of keep the offense, behind the chains. Doesn't do that quite as well as some of the other names we'll talk about here in a second. So I have him 4th, but he's a really good player. I think there's a drop off at this position in the draft, but I think he's firmly in that tier 2 for me.
Okay. Well, and I called him a kind of facilitator, right? I said on film, you see him facilitating plays much more than being the guy that wins. And I think about a quarterback, right? Like we would never take a facilitator style quarterback with the number 1 overall pick, or even maybe top 10, right? If Alex Smith is available in the 2nd round, fine. We say that all the time when we do quarterback review videos. It's like, yeah, he's a facilitator. He's not going to win you a championship, but he's a good, fine starting caliber quarterback. I feel like defensive interior, those people are more valuable because you need them. You need, like I said, 4 or 5 of these guys to rotate in so they have a role. But I'm not taking a guy in the 1st round that isn't going to be the winning player for my defense, right? Like to me, that's just a non-starter. So that's why I think I have him a step below. My number 4, Ray, is Christen Miller. And we didn't do the film review of Christen Miller from Georgia. Redshirt junior, 6'4", 310 pounds, 21 years old, had an 84.5 PFF grade. Like when I watched Christen Miller film, I thought he was a linebacker or an edge rusher playing defensive interior. he doesn't look 310 at all. Like, just like a lot of Georgia guys, he wears the weight in a way that is absurd. He looks almost like not human, wearing 310 pounds, built like a linebacker. Like, that shouldn't exist. There were plays because of that. I saw him get absolutely destroyed in the run game because he doesn't have the leverage that you really want for, again, a top kind of defensive interior player. But Christen Miller, to me, I saw him more of a true pass rush winner. That Lee Hunter is good and can be that as well. But I think Christen Miller's upside is a little bit higher. 21 years old, Lee Hunter's 23. There's more there that can be uncovered in Christen Miller, in my opinion. I have him also as kind of that like early to mid day 2 kind of player. So like in the same range. Those are the two guys I have bucketed together in this kind of group.
Yeah. So I actually have Hunter above Miller. So Miller would be my 5 in this group because and it could be that I graded him on a scale when it came to athleticism a little bit, where he shows any kind of ounce of a swim move and a little, kind of arm under. I go, oh, okay, oh, look at that. He can move. I do wonder with some of those twitchy or athletic types like a Christen Miller, where they not ignore their leverage, but they're being more of an athlete, right? Than they should. Because at the end of the day, you're still in the trenches. You're still, navigating the trash and kind of, you got to get your hands dirty. And at times I saw a little too much athlete, not enough, just kind of hits you in the mouth. And if I'm worried about the spine of my defense, I need you to hit them in the mouth first and foremost. I can sub in a big 5-tech end on the interior of my line and rush them on third downs in some sort of big nickel situation. So if I want to draft someone in the top 60, the first 2 rounds of the draft, I want more in those standard first and second downs because I can get a specialist later. I can get more value, in my opinion, by doing that. So playing the draft a little bit, I think, hinders Christen Miller or lowers his stock a little bit for me. And I think it's harder to find someone with Hunter's skills as you get later on in the draft, in this class in particular, than Miller. So I would have Hunter as my 4, Miller as my 5, but totally different types of players. So again, it goes to what you need.
100%. So we have 3 guys left to talk about. Is there anybody else that you think is in this range, or should we go to those final 3?
Well, you disrespected Zane Durant by not including him in either of our lists, and so I wasn't gonna.
I didn't get to watch him, so you can tell me.
I mean, he's exactly what you expect. Like, oh, he's the defensive tackle that ran like a 4.7 40 at the combine, ran the fastest 40. No, but that's exactly who he is. Super twitched up athlete. He has to win early, or else you have some problems. And he has a motor. It's just, if he doesn't win early at his size in the 280s, he's not going to push the pocket too much. You stalemate him, then you won the rep. But he wins quick in the run game too. He's not just a pass rusher. He's pretty disruptive in the run game. Better tape in 24 than 25. They had a new defensive coordinator at Penn State. Jim Knowles came in, who was well accomplished, but really didn't fit what Zane Durant does well. He was asked more to kind of 2-gap and hold the line in 2025, which is not his role. So I think that dinged him a little bit. But to me, I'd rather take Zane Durant in the 3rd and Christen Miller in the 2nd. They're the same type of player. I'm not going to really be comfortable with them out there on 1st and 10 or 2nd and 4 or anything like that. So I'll take my pass rush specialist. I'll take the more athletic guy, even if he's a little bit more undersized, a round later and play the value that way. So who I would have at 5 or 6, I don't know. I'm biased, so I don't want to give my ranking in that. But again, the point is you can find some of those athletic D tackles that you can specialize in some of those passing downs later on. I think Christen Miller might be a bit too rich for my liking, but I could see someone taking him in the late 2nd because you have athleticism, 310 pounds. You think there's something there to work with, but he was at Georgia. He got some phenomenal coaching at Georgia, as we see with other players that have come out of there. He should have picked some of that up by now. Kirby Smart, as much as I like to rag on him in different circles, knows what he's doing there. And, I would have expected to see more in that element of his game by now, because he's not coming from Georgia State. He's coming from Georgia. So he should have picked up on this.
Just remember, NFL teams take these guys.
Yeah.
interior players go, right? Like, so we're saying there's only 3 guys, at least I think, are first round graded players in this draft. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these other guys actually goes in the first round, because only having 3 go in the first round is kind of rare. Do you have a first round grade on the remaining 3?
Yes, but with an asterisk on one of them.
So who's 3 for you? And I'm assuming it's the one with the asterisk.
It's not the one with the asterisk. So, and here's where it gets interesting. So 3 for me is Peter Woods. And I really like Peter Woods. There are certain indicators that I like about Peter Woods' game, but then there are certain things that, look, I don't like to fight certain battles, and you could call it whatever you want. I think it's very popular and easy to say, oh, arm length, that doesn't matter. It's an inch. No, it does matter. It does. Okay. They measure this because it matters. Okay. And when we get into the edge rushing breakdown, we could talk about this further, but it does matter. Is it everything? No. And what I like about Peter Woods is that he got into the chest of linemen a lot bigger than him and was just able to he had the core strength and agility to stack, just throw him to the ground and go ahead and chase the play. He's a really good football player, but there is a limit to your upside if you're in the 8th percentile in length and hand size and punch. There's just not as much to work with, and that's scary. I also don't like what Clemson did, and I'm punishing Peter Woods for this a little bit when it's really not his fault, but he wasn't used properly. He wasn't. I wanted to see him more lined up between guards and tackles, and instead I got him between guards and centers, or head up on centers, or head up on guards, straight two-eye technique. I'm like, this is not his game. So they didn't utilize him properly. So there may be some more blood on the stone, and maybe if he had been in just a more standard sort of penetrating 3 technique type of role, I would have a bona fide first round grade on him, because I'll take a player like this in the first round, in the late first round, in the 20s-ish area. I'm fine with that. But there's one too many question marks for me. If they had used him properly, I'd probably be enough for me to just kind of put him in the first round, because I would have seen more and been able to say, yep, okay, for sure, he's got it. I could overlook the short arms, because on the interior, it's not quite as big of an issue as it is on the outside, even though I would like him to be a bit longer, bigger framed and all that. Or if he just had the bigger frame, I'll say, look, he's got the frame for it. He's got a higher ceiling, and they just didn't use him properly. But both together, I go, let me look at some of these other guys that I like, and that bumps him down a little bit. So I have a very high 2 on Peter Woods. No qualms about it if you do take him in the first, but I have a high 2 on him.
Yeah, and just to remind Peter Woods was talked about before this year as like a top 5, top 10 pick. And he underperformed, just like the entire Clemson team did, right? So like you were saying, it's similar to Penn State, where a lot of these just like high-end prospects took a real hard hit, and we don't really know what to make of it. Does it mean that he's going to go into the NFL and resurrect that career, or does it mean that like it's basically done and it's going to be, I think Peter Woods can be fine. He can be a good player at the NFL level, even if we are getting what we just saw. But to me, it's more, okay, like Brian Brisset, Miles Murphy, like how many Clemson players have come out in the past few years that have had that high degree of kind of high school grading and then just not followed through, right? Like not become what they were supposed to become. Where at a certain point do I go, I don't want to be the team that does that again, right? Like I don't want to be the team that makes that gamble again. Peter Woods, again, like valuable position, valuable player. I think your range is spot on. Like, let's take him late 20s. And again, I kind of want somebody else to do it. I don't really want to be the one to do it.
Yeah. And yes, we hear the person screaming Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, I know. That was like,
but that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago now. And clearly he's not Dexter Lawrence, totally different player. But right. Yes.
All right, Ray, big reveal time between 2 and 1. Who's your 2 and who's your 1? And you have to do it. Don't do this like chicken SH stuff, like stop. Say it with your chest a little bit. Like who's your 2 and who's your 1?
Look, my 2 is Caleb Banks.
Oh,
my 2 is Caleb Banks.
All right, let's hear it.
I like Caleb Banks. but he's hurt all the time. What am I supposed to do with that? And when you're huge and you have foot injuries, if you're small and you have foot injuries, it's a problem. If you're huge and have foot injuries, what do you do with that? That's a major problem. He also he gets away with it some, but he doesn't really know. He's not technical. He's not technically sound at all, really. He gets away with being much bigger and stronger. And actually, that's one of my cons about my number one player as well. But I think he's still a very raw player. And even if you are super big and super strong in the NFL, if you're raw and you're just off with your technique and you give some surface area to these guys, they'll humble you pretty quickly. All right. These are professionals. These are grown men and professionals. I think there would already be some sort of adjustment to Caleb Banks in the NFL, just by nature of how he plays the game and then the step up in competition. When you add in the injuries, the lower body injuries on top of that, to where is he going to even have a consistent training camp and offseason? Can he stay on the field? Can he get the reps he needs to develop? That's a major question mark. So a doctor, like the best doctor out there, I don't know, like the best podiatrist or whoever needs to be like, yeah, this is never going to be an issue again, his foot, or, it's not going to linger. Otherwise, I'm scared. And despite how much I like the player, because he is just a dominant force on the interior, and he could just develop into an elite player, because he's got the athleticism with the strength and everything else. It's scary. It's scary because he could completely flame out. Injuries could take their toll, and you're done for. You just got a 350-pound hurt guy that can't do anything for you.
All right, so Caleb Banks from Florida, 6'6", 330 pounds, 23 years old. Ray, I can only trust what I see, right? And I'm going to have a doctor that's going to go to Caleb Banks' house, or he's going to bring him to the equipment, and he's going to run all the tests, and he's going to make sure all of his ligaments aren't linguini. Okay. And as long as there's not structural issues with Caleb Banks, this to me is a defensive difference-making cornerstone type player, right? And it's not every year you have an opportunity to get one of those guys. And if I have an opportunity to get one of those guys at a position that is top 4 most valuable positions in the NFL, I have to take that risk. I have to, right? So that's me and my team building. I think Caleb Banks, when I see the film, I see a guy that plays football in a way that some of the greats of all time have played football, right? Like has the strength that is difference-making strength, has skills that are difference-making skills, has speed and quickness at 330 pounds that is make-believe, right? That's special stuff, right? And another thing, which is really funny to me, I think Florida may be like one of the worst coached programs in college football, because they just always look like they're a mess, right? Like all these really talented players have no fundamental understanding of how to play football. And Caleb Banks was still winning at an elite level with that coaching, right? Maybe I'm being too harsh. You tell me, but they looked like trash this year, right? So let's call a spade a spade. Caleb Banks, if I am the Jets or Giants picking in the top 5, if the medicals hold up and my doctor doesn't go, no, this is like a huge red flag, I am taking this guy top 5 in this class. If he was never ever injured before, yes. But you might be able to get him 5th in the second round. You might be able to get him at 35 or 37. I don't think so. I don't think so, Ray. If I'm the Jets at 16 or wherever they have their second first-round pick, smash draft. Smash it, man.
So look, I mean, I have him second, right? So I have him above Peter Woods, which is crazy. But like I said, I have an asterisk on him. Mm-hmm. But flip side, he couldn't make it through an NFL combine workout. Like, we're not even talking about like, hey, you just smashed heads with Tyler Booker for 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon. No, he couldn't make it through the NFL combine. Like,
I get it, man.
In shorts. Like,
I get it.
You can't draft that top 5.
But sometimes they're
not even all 22.
Like, I need my doctor to show me that his ligaments aren't linguini, that this isn't structural issues with his hips or something that's always going to cause some issue. Like, just tell me that this is an injury and he's going to heal and it's going to take 6 months and then he's going to be able to play football again. He's going to lose 10 pounds. We're going to get him on a special diet, right? He's going to be drinking spinach and banana smoothies for a month, right? Or a year, whatever it is. We're going to get this guy healthy, right? I trust my team. I trust my trainers. I want that for Caleb Banks. You're right, though. If my trainers look at him and say, like, even if it's like a yellow flag, I agree with you, but I'm still taking him top 20. I'm still definitely taking him top 20.
Oh my gosh.
He's that good. In this class, he's that good.
He is that good. He's that good. If he had no injuries, he'd be a top 5 player for sure.
Think about
this. This is like,
was there an offensive lineman that you watched that you would take over this guy if they were healthy?
No. This guy
is there a receiver you would take over this guy if they were all healthy?
No,
I wouldn't. No. So
close.
Take the difference-making player for your franchise if he's healthy.
But he's not.
If there's not some red flag.
Like imagine drafting Joel Embiid, but you drafted Joel Embiid after he was injured 3 times in college. Like Joel Embiid was just injured once. And then like this is 3 times. Like
I get it. And I get that your foot is important, but it's not your ACL. It's not like he tore his Achilles. It's not. No, I get it, but it's like he broke his foot. You know what I mean? Like it's a broken foot.
I don't know, man. I'm scared. I put him 2 and I'm terrified. Like,
all right.
I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. But so in all 22, and I think this is where like we mirror the NFL, but it's a little bit easier to take some of these risks.
For sure.
Because you're not waiting 32 more slots, at least right now, to make your pick.
Yeah.
Your next pick, that is. But also, if you go to the All-22 platform, right, and you just look, like if you need a defensive interior player, which is probably most of you, and you just went into your league, you look at the players list like, all right, who am I going to make a trade for? That list gets really thin of defensive interior players that you like, that aren't old, that you want to give up assets for. There's not a lot of great players right now at that spot in the NFL. There's a shortage of them. So someone's going to take that plunge. Oh, man, but it's a scary plunge. Like, I don't know, man. That's like a polar plunge times 10.
Listen, you don't win the draft in the first round, but you lose the draft in the first round.
Right.
I'm winning it, baby. I'm putting
all my money on red.
I'm putting all my money on red. All right.
Oh my God.
You have Kayden McDonald first from Ohio State, junior, 6'3", 326 pounds, 21 years old. Tell us why.
He does what he does, and he is elite at it. And he doesn't come out every single year. He should. I feel like in the old days he did. Now he doesn't. Mm-hmm. He is an elite run defender, like elite. He is a nightmare. You almost feel the physical pain of his opponent when you watch his tape. He's just like, they're just getting knocked back. Their back isn't just places it shouldn't be. He's a terror to go against. And yet at the same time, while he doesn't offer you much at all as a pass rusher, you're not expecting him to. But what I love about it is I am comfortable with what he does well, translating so well into the NFL. And sometimes people make the mistake of, oh, you're big, you're strong, you're powerful, you're great at stopping the run in the NFL. That's going to work. No, you need some sort of requisite athleticism and just instincts to still do that, especially in the NFL where everything, yes, moves faster, but it's much more intricate and nuanced and all those things that come into play here. It's a much more delicate dance, even for the brute force type of run stoppers in the middle there. Kayden McDonald is just so in control. It's like watching Patrick Surtain play cornerback. It's basically what it is, but over the center plus 140 pounds, I don't know, of weight on top of him. It's phenomenal. I have no concerns about his game translating at all. He's going to step into the NFL. He's going to immediately be a 2-down player, one of the best 2-down players in the league. When I say best, I'm not top 5, but probably the number one, probably a top 20 run stuffer in the league. I have no concerns about that. I have no questions about that. I think he could do that right away. He's just so comfortable. The upside everywhere else is limited, but you're not drafting him for that. You're drafting him because you need to stop the run. If the Cowboys didn't trade for Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark over the last 12 months, there's no way this guy falls past pick 20, where the Cowboys would have snatched him up because they need a run stopper, maybe even at 12, honestly, because he just immediately, bam, he fixes your, he doesn't completely fix your run defense because no one player does that, but he fixes your run defense, or he goes a long way to fixing your run defense in that one selection.
At 12, I don't think he makes it to 20. I think he is, so like, I think he's the first defensive interior taken in this draft because of the issues with Caleb Banks. Because of that, right? Like, remember, Mason Graham went 5 last year. We had Kenneth Grant go 13. We had Walter Nolan go 16. I think he's better than Kenneth Grant and Walter Nolan, right? Like, to me, he's better than both of those guys as prospects. I think a team takes him top 10. I really do. Which team, I don't know. But again, like, you need 3 good defensive interiors on your team to be like relevant in the NFL. That's why the Seahawks were so good, right? Like, your defensive front needs to be solid in today's NFL for you to be a true contender. Every team needs a guy like this, even if you have one. Like, even you saying like the Cowboys got a couple guys, like, I don't think Kenny Clark is stopping you from taking Cayden McDonald at 12 or wherever you guys are picking. Again.
No, but the fact that you need everything else on defense is
right. Else. For sure. But again, it's just like trust the level of prospect that this is. I agree with everything you said. I think he's awesome. I think we have 2 number 1 defensive interiors this year. Those 2 guys, to me, are in a tier at the top. Just excited about it because I think that this defensive group is going to surprise people. Everybody's talking this draft as like a bad draft. And I watched one defensive position and I already really like what we have here. So I'm excited for what's to come. I know that linebackers being talked about as a good draft class. Safety is being talked about as a good draft class. Edge rusher is a deep draft class. Even if it doesn't have like a stud top player, it has a lot of really good ones. So a lot of really fun things to come. I'm excited to talk more about it, Ray. But today I do need to wrap up. We do have a special announcement coming next week. If you remember last year, we were running another project that we're excited to tell you about if you are a new listener. So we'll talk more about that next week. But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X at all22_PFF, and give us a review wherever you watch or listen to your podcast, and have a great rest of your day.
Go.